Coyote and the Fire Spirit, a Native American tale. A long, long time ago, the world was cold and dark. People didn't have fire. They shivered in the night and couldn't cook their food. But far away, up in the mountains, the Fire Spirit kept the fire all to himself. He didn't want to share it with anyone. He kept it in a big burning log inside his cave and guarded it day and night. The animals and people were sad. They wanted to be warm and safe. One day, Clever Coyote called a meeting. "We must get fire for everyone," Coyote said. "I have a plan." The animals gathered: raven, squirrel, rabbit, and even mountain goat. They all wanted to help. That night, Coyote crept up the mountain. Quiet as a whisper, he tiptoed into the fire spirit's cave. He waited until the fire spirit fell asleep. Then, whoosh! Coyote grabbed a burning stick and ran. The fire spirit woke up with a roar. "Thief, come back!" Coyote ran as fast as he could down the mountain, but the fire spirit was chasing him. "Help!" Coyote cried to Raven. Raven swooped down, grabbed the burning stick, and flew away fast, but the fire spirit was close behind. "Pass it on!" Raven squawked. Squirrel took the stick and darted through the trees. The stick burned his tail, and that's why squirrel tails are bent today. Finally, Rabbit took the fire and hopped through the bushes. He threw the fire into a hollow tree, and fire spread to the forests. Now fire lives in trees and wood. That's why, even today, we can make fire by rubbing sticks together or striking stones. Thanks to Coyote and his friends, the people had fire. They were warm and safe, and they never forgot the animals' brave teamwork. The end. How the Raven Stole the Sun, a Native American legend retold for children. A long, long time ago, the world was covered in darkness. There was no sun, no moon, and no stars. People had to feel their way around, and the animals could not see where they were going. Everything was cold and shadowy. Far away, in a big wooden house, lived a very old man. He had the only light in the world. He kept the sun hidden in a box, and he wouldn't let anyone see it. But high in the sky, Clever Raven was watching. He didn't like the darkness. He wanted to help the people and the animals see the beauty of the world. So Raven came up with a plan. He turned himself into a tiny pine needle and floated down into the old man's house. The old man's daughter was getting water from the stream, and when she drank it, gulp, she swallowed the pine needle without even knowing. Soon, the daughter had a baby. It was Raven in disguise. He grew quickly, and the old man loved his new grandson very much. But little Raven cried and cried. He pointed to the box that held the sun. "Please," he begged, "let me play with it." At first, the old man said no. "It's too bright," he warned. But the little boy cried so much that finally the old man gave in. "Just for a minute," he said. As soon as Raven touched the box, he threw off his disguise, turned back into a bird, grabbed the sun in his beak, and flew out the window. Up, up, up he soared into the sky. The light spilled out and brightened the world for the very first time. The people cheered. The animals danced. Flowers bloomed, and the rivers sparkled. From that day on, the world had light, all thanks to the clever and brave Raven. And that's how the Raven stole the sun. Certainly. Here's the story without that final line. Long ago, when the world was still young, the wind blew whenever it wanted. Sometimes it danced gently through the trees. Other times it roared across the land, knocking over flowers and tossing leaves into the sky. All the animals were tired of the wind's wild games. "We can't fly, we can't play, we can't even sleep," they cried. One day, a tiny hummingbird flew up to the tallest tree to speak with the wind. "Wind," said the hummingbird in her soft voice, "why do you blow so hard? The flowers are scared, the birds can't fly straight." The wind huffed and puffed. "I don't mean to scare anyone," he said. "I just have so much energy." The hummingbird thought for a moment. "What if you had a game to play? Something that helps everyone?" The wind grew curious. "Like what?" The hummingbird smiled. "You could help spread seeds for the flowers and trees. You could carry the smell of sweet blossoms across the land. You could even help the clouds move to bring rain." The wind was excited. "That sounds fun." From that day on, the wind stopped blowing wild and crazy, unless there was a storm to chase. Most days, he played gently with the trees, carried the songs of birds, and helped the flowers grow far and wide. The animals were happy, and so was the hummingbird. And the wind? He finally had a game that made everyone smile. The end. The Wolf and the Rabbit. Once upon a time, in a big green forest, there lived a clever little rabbit. He loved to hop around, play in the grass, and eat sweet carrots. But one day, a big hungry wolf saw the rabbit and said, "Little rabbit, I'm going to eat you for lunch." The rabbit's ears stood up in surprise. But he didn't panic. He had a plan. "Oh, Mr. Wolf," said the rabbit kindly, "you could eat me, but I'm much too small right now. I've been eating only carrots. If you wait just one more day, I'll be much fatter and tastier." The wolf licked his lips. A fatter rabbit? That sounds yummy. Fine. I'll wait until tomorrow." The next day, the wolf came back, but the rabbit was gone. He had hopped far, far away to a new part of the forest where the wolf could never find him. The wolf waited and waited, but the clever rabbit never returned. And from that day on, the wolf learned, never trust a rabbit with a big smile. The end. The Great Spirit creates the world. For children. A long, long time ago, before there were people, animals, or trees, there was only sky and water. Everything was quiet and still. High above the clouds, the Great Spirit, a kind and powerful being who wanted to create a beautiful world full of life and joy. One day, the Great Spirit looked down and said, "This world needs color, movement, and love." So the Great Spirit began to create. First, the Great Spirit shaped the land. Mountains rose up high, valleys dipped low, and rivers flowed like silver snakes. Then came the oceans, deep and blue, sparkling under the sun. Next, the Great Spirit made the sky. It was painted bright blue with fluffy white clouds. The sun was placed in the sky to bring warmth and light during the day, and the moon and stars were added to shine gently at night. Then came the plants and trees. Green grass grew across the land, flowers of every color bloomed, and tall trees stretched toward the sky. After that, the Great Spirit made the animals, big ones like bears and deer, small ones like mice and rabbits, birds to fly in the sky, and fish to swim in the sea. Every animal had a place and a purpose, but something was missing. So the Great Spirit shaped the first people from the clay of the earth. They were given hearts to love, voices to sing, and hands to build. The Great Spirit taught them to care for the land and all living things. The people danced with joy and thanked the Great Spirit for the beautiful world. From that day on, the Great Spirit watched over the earth, smiling as the world grew full of life, laughter, and love. And that is how the world was made. By Rabbit Galaxy TV. A long time ago, the world was full of light and laughter. The rivers danced, the trees sang, and the animals lived in peace. But one day, a dark shadow fell over the land. A greedy monster had stolen the sun and locked it away in a deep cave, far beneath the mountains. Without the sun, the world grew cold and quiet. Flowers stopped blooming, birds stopped singing. All the animals were afraid. "We must bring back the sun," cried the wise old turtle. But who could fly far enough and be brave enough to face the monster? Then, from the highest cliff, came a mighty cry. Screech! It was Eagle, the king of the sky. His wings were wide and his eyes were sharp. "I will go," he said. "I will bring back the sun." All the animals cheered. "Go, Eagle, go!" Eagle flew higher than he had ever flown before. He soared above snowy mountains, across dark forests, and into the deep cave where the monster slept beside the glowing sun. Eagle waited quietly. When the monster snored loudly, Eagle swooped in. With a quick snap of his claws, he grabbed the sun and flew out of the cave. Roar! The monster woke up and chased after him, shaking the mountains and roaring in anger. But Eagle was fast and strong. He flew straight into the sky and placed the sun back where it belonged. Warmth returned to the earth. Flowers opened their petals. Birds sang again. The world was happy once more. All the animals danced and shouted, "Hooray for Eagle! He saved the world!" From that day on, the eagle became a symbol of courage, strength, and hope. The Legend of the Rainbow, written for children. A long, long time ago, the world was full of colors, but they all lived separately. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet each believed they were the most important color of all. One day, the colors started arguing. Red said, "I am the color of love and courage. Everyone needs me the most." Orange replied, "But I bring warmth and joy. Without me, the world would be boring." Yellow laughed, "You're both wrong. I shine like the sun and make people happy." Green stepped forward, "I am the color of nature, trees, grass, and life itself." Blue waved in the sky. Don't forget me. I am the color of the sea and the sky. Indigo whispered, I bring calm and peace. I am the color of deep dreams. And Violet twirled, but I am the color of imagination and magic. The sky grew sad listening to their fight. Suddenly, dark clouds covered the land and it began to rain. The colors grew quiet and scared. Then, a gentle voice came from above. It was the voice of the sky spirit. The sky spirit said, Why do you fight? Each of you is special. But when you argue, you forget how beautiful you are together. The colors looked at one another. Together? They asked. Yes, said the sky spirit. Hold hands and rise into the sky. So the colors joined hands and slowly lifted into the air. They stretched across the sky in harmony, side by side, forming a magical arc of light. From that day on, whenever it rains and the sun shines, the rainbow appears to remind everyone of the beauty of unity and friendship. And that's how the rainbow was born. The end. The Hummingbird and the Sun, retold for children. A long time ago, when the world was still young, the sun did not shine down on the earth. Everything was dark and cold, and the animals were sad. The trees had no leaves, the flowers would not bloom, and no one could see the beauty of the world. Far away in the sky, the sun was hiding behind a thick cloud. He was tired and did not want to shine anymore. The world is not ready for my light, the sun said. All the animals gathered for a meeting. We must find a way to bring back the sun, cried the wise old owl. The bear was too big to fly to the sky. The deer was too heavy. The snake could not climb that high. Then a tiny voice said, I will go. It was the little hummingbird. The other animals laughed. You are too small, said the fox. You are too weak, said the wolf. But the hummingbird did not listen. She believed she could do it. She flapped her wings and flew high into the sky, higher than she had ever flown before. Up and up she went, through the clouds, through the wind, until she found the sun sleeping behind a silver cloud. The hummingbird sang a sweet song. It was soft and kind, full of hope and love. The sun opened one eye, then he opened the other. Who is singing to me? He asked. It is I, said the hummingbird. The earth needs your light. The flowers miss your warmth. The children want to play in your sunshine. The sun smiled. He had never heard such a lovely song before. The tiny bird's courage and kindness touched his heart. You are right, said the sun. It is time for me to shine again. And with that, the sun rose up and filled the world with golden light. The flowers opened, the animals danced, and the earth became warm and bright. All because one small hummingbird believed she could make a difference. The Legend of the Grand Canyon. A long time ago, when the earth was still young, the land was flat and quiet. There were no deep valleys or high mountains, just endless plains under the blue sky. The animals roamed freely, and the rivers flowed gently across the land. One day, the Great Spirit looked down from the sky and saw that the people were becoming careless. They forgot to thank the earth for its gifts. They took too much from the land and wasted what they had. The Great Spirit decided to send a message. He called upon Coyote, the clever and playful trickster. Go down to the earth, the Great Spirit said, and teach the people to respect nature again. Coyote agreed, but instead of using words, he came up with a plan. He ran across the land, dragging his big, bushy tail behind him. Wherever his tail touched the ground, it carved a line into the earth. He ran faster and faster, turning, twisting, zigzagging through forests and deserts. His tail dug deeper and deeper until finally a giant canyon had been formed, the Grand Canyon. The people were amazed. What happened to the land? They asked. Coyote stood on the edge of the canyon and said, This is a reminder. The earth is powerful. We must take care of it and give thanks for all it gives us. From that day on, the people treated the land with more kindness. They told their children the story of the canyon and how Coyote carved it with his tail, if guided by the Great Spirit. And even now, when you visit the Grand Canyon, you can imagine Coyote's footprints and tail marks, reminding us to be grateful and gentle with the earth. The Spirit of the Mountain, written for children. Long ago, in a land filled with tall trees and singing rivers, there stood a great mountain. It touched the clouds and sparkled in the morning sun. The people who lived nearby called it Mountain Mother, for they believed it was alive and kind. Every spring, flowers bloomed on her slopes. In summer, sweet berries and cool streams appeared. In autumn, golden leaves danced in the wind. And in winter, the mountain wore a snowy blanket, keeping the land quiet and peaceful. But what made the mountain truly special was her spirit, a gentle, glowing light that lived in the heart of the stone. Some said it looked like a bird, others said it was like a dancing flame. No one had seen it clearly, but all could feel its warmth in their hearts. One day, a little girl named Lena wandered into the forest at the foot of the mountain. She loved to sing and pick wildflowers, but this day, dark clouds covered the sky and the forest felt cold and silent. Lena lost her way. She sat on a rock and began to cry. "I want to go home," she whispered. Just then, a soft breeze blew through the trees, carrying a voice like music. "Do not be afraid, little one," it said. A glowing light floated down from the mountain. It was the spirit of the mountain. The spirit looked like a beautiful deer made of stars. Its eyes were full of kindness. "You are never truly alone," it said gently. "The mountain watches over all." The spirit guided Lena through the forest, lighting the path with sparkles of light. Birds began to sing again, and the wind felt warm. Soon she saw her village in the distance. Before Lena could say thank you, the spirit smiled and vanished into the trees like mist in the morning sun. From that day on, Lena often returned to the forest, not to pick flowers, but to care for the trees and animals. She told everyone about the spirit of the mountain and how the mountain's heart beats with love for all who treat the land with respect. And if you ever walk near a mountain and feel a soft breeze or hear a song in the wind, perhaps the spirit is watching you too.